Hey guys, I'm Clint Flairwoo. Welcome back to another Division 2 build video, and today this is PvP. This is me creating a skill build with a huge amount of viability. That's armor, that's the Bloodsucker talent, it's kick-ass, and yes, oh yes, 100% hazard protection. So I needed to do this for PvP. I needed to produce a build that is a skill build that also kicks ass and has a healthy amount of armor and is a skill build tank. And yet there is so much more you can do to this build to make it even stronger. This is a template, and it's a bloody brilliant one at that. So I've used this in Conflict, I've used this in PvP, the DZ, ODZ, all that jazz, and I've had a lot of fun running with this. You don't deal an immense amount of damage, do not get me wrong. People say you're not dealing enough damage. Maybe so, however my skills do a lot of the work as well. So guys, yeah, this is my Bloodsucker skill build for PvP. As you can see in the footage, it deals some cracking damage. The pestilence, poison fart gas also helps. Guys, this is my fun PvP skill build that shows that you can roll a 3k skill power skill build of over 400k armor and be effective and play solo if you need, or in a group. You still are an important component in the group. It is great. Guys, check this build out. Hey guys, yes, I'm Clint Flairwoo, back once again like the Renegade Master with another build. And yes, it's my Bloodsucker skill build for PvP. None of this DZ farming, unless you're farming players that is. None of this going from landmark to landmark or NPCs. This is solely for and against other players. This build can be used solo, yeah, that's cool, and you can do very, very well. Or if you want to get the most out of this build, then the group scenario is where I would place this particular build. Now, there is a lot of scope for improvement. Do not get me wrong. This isn't, I'm not on this bullshit. I'm going to say this is the meta, the new meta. This is brilliant. Do this now. What I will say is try it and tell me what you think of this build, because I'm loving this in PvP. This is my go-to as it stands. Now, with this build, over 400k armor. Yep. Not to mention 3k skill power and 100% hazard protection. So, let's take a look. And here we go, guys, this is my Bloodsucker skill build for PvP. And again, it's against players, not for NPCs in the slightest. I'm rolling with the Nerf gun specialization. Two reasons. First reason being, I need 3k skill power. That is a necessity on this build. So, getting that extra 50% skill power, i.e. going from 2k to 3k, is necessary and essential to make this build operate exactly how I want it to. Also, the extra 10% skill damage does pay dividends. Now, I have 2 offensive stats, 12 defensive stats, and 9 utility stats. My primary damage on my weapon of choice, which is the Pestilence Fart Gas, should I say poison, is great. And that's my definite choice of weapon. But it is personal preference. Simple as that. My armor is 405k, my health is 62k, and my skill power is 2943, which enables me to unlock all the talents I need on this build. Let's take a look. My mask is the Javelina mask, which is Gila Guard brand set. That's 5% total armor and 20% hazard protection. You can add in 8% health, 50% hazard protection, and insulated, which is an extra 30% hazard protection. So that's 100% right there. Take that all day long. Skill power, extra outgoing healing, and bleed damage. The chest piece is Alp Summer Armament, which is 20% skill haste. My attributes are armor of 17.5% and armor of 24,472. As you can see, they're nicely rolled. Could be better, of course they could be, but that's the best I have as it stands. But it has the talent Bloodsucker. Depleting an enemy's armor adds a stack of plus 25% bonus armor for 10 seconds. Max stack is 6. So 25% of, yes, 400k, that is an extra 100k bonus. I'll take that. So that's my armor goes from 400k to 500k. So something to definitely bear in mind. Having that extra 100k bonus armor is sexy, in all honesty. So something to bear in mind. That makes you even more tankier with this build. Now in terms of the mods, armor, total armor, explosive resistance, skill power, burn duration, and increased shock duration. And the reason I'm using that one, again, that doesn't benefit me on the build at all, but what it does do, it pushes my skill power to the maximum that I need on the build. That's why I'm using that mod. Now, armor, explosive resistance, and total armor. That explosive resistance is nice. Negotiator's Dilemma, yes, we know there those pesky buggers are littered through DZ and conflict, so having that little bit of resistance does help. And in terms of the holster, it is hardwired, which is 20% skill power, and 719 skill power, 27330 health, bleed damage, and skill power, burn damage, and more bleed damage. Now, the knee pads again are hardwired. That's 270 skill power, and in terms of the mods, it's skill power, bleed damage, burn damage, and armor, explosive resistance, and total armor. Now, with this, to get this a little bit further down the line, to make this even stronger, one thing I would recommend, if you have a pair of knee pads with Empowered as a talent, you do not need the 2-piece hardwired. And I'm rolling with this simply because my holster is in such a good shape. It's 719 skill power. That's quite a healthy roll. And that 27330 health, it's a good, nicely, sexily rolled holster that I do need. Now, if I get a better holster, I have a good holster, and then I can, on my knee pads, utilize Empowered, then you don't need 2-piece hardwired. So Empowered will be go-to if you have the right rolled on your build. Now the gloves. The gloves are the Contractor's Gloves, which is the Petrol Defense brand set, LMG damage 10%, and I also get my attributes 12% LMG damage, that's 22% on this pair of gloves, AR damage and a bit of skill power, and Perfect Terminate. Depleting an enemy's armor grants plus 40% skill damage for 15 seconds. Kills refresh this. That's nice. Again, that pushes my bit of skill damage a little bit higher, and I do like this on the build. Now, if you want to go more down the damage route, change this for compensated, and you will see your damage output will be a lot stronger. Just depends how you want to roll. Me, I'm more of a skill builder, so I prefer the extra skill damage, but by all means, if you prefer compensated for a bit more DPS, that's something to bear in mind. You also have the BTSU gloves. You could put Devastating on there. There's so many different options of what you can use, what pair of gloves that you want to use. Entirely up to you. I've opted for these. That 22% extra damage is healthy, and obviously Perfect Terminate does go a long way for skills. But again, it's personal preference. Now the backpack. This backpack is a nice backpack. Put it that way. So, 18.5% total armor, 3,000 health, and 2977 total armor. It's Gila Guard, so I'm getting that again, that 5% armor and hazard protection, which is good. I like this. The talents on the ropes. Weapon damage is increased by 15%. Yeah, 15% while all skills are on cooldown. And I'm using this talent for the simple reason is once your Hive Stinger, which is my primary weapon of choice, or sorry, primary skill of choice, while this is refilling, and your secondary skill, which I've opted for the Striker Drone, once that's out, then happy days. On the ropes is active and ready to go. So you will get a lot of value from on the ropes. As you've seen on the pieces so far, there's not a lot of skill haste. So once there's, again, those skills are on cooldown, I get an extra 15% damage. So yeah, it kind of does pay dividends to work it this way. If I've got a lot of skill haste, then I won't really see the reward from using this talent. But with little to no skill haste, on the ropes gives me that extra 15% weapon damage. And you see why I've opted for that on this build. And not to mention hardened for that 15% armor, just to make me even more tankier. In terms of the mods, skill power with bleed damage, armor, explosive resistance, total armor of 4%. Now the weapons, the Pestilence, yeah, 23.5k, 605 RPM, 100 in the mag. Plague of the Outcast, we know what this does by now. This is my favourite exotic weapon. In fact, it's probably my favourite weapon in the game. I love this weapon. We all know what it does. And I've used this again. It's a great deterrent, again, against the Berserk builds with Clutch. Something to bear in mind that this does hamper those builds for sure. It is great. The Pestilence is a great, not just a PvE weapon, but a great PvP weapon, in all fairness. I love rolling with this. My secondary is the Military G36. I'm using it just because it's got rooted as my holster talent. And my sidearm is the Maxim 9, which is Reformation. Headshot kills increase skill repair and healing by 50%. I use this sometimes because I switch from the Striker drone to the Fixer drone. Again, it is personal preference, but it depends on the situation. If there is a little bit of NPC murking, then yes, I will switch to my Fixer drone. Again, that gives me that extra bit of skill repair. Again, personal preference. And stable for the extra bit of stability. That is the gear. Weapons. Let's take a look at the skills. My primary skill is the Stinger Hive. The reload speed of 3.4 seconds, which again, purposely a little bit on the high side. Ideally, you want to get this a little bit lower. I've opted for damage, charges, and charges on the set mods, as you can see. So the damage 131k, PvP damage of 21k. You could go for radius if need be. You can go for an extra damage mod or skill haste, whatever you so desire. I've just gone for damage, charges, and charges on this build. And secondary is the Striker drone. I've just tried to stack as much damage as I can on this with the mods that I have. So I have a 2648, which is a 529.7% Striker damage mod. That's the first one that I've seen. A lot of people say maybe craft them. I'm not a fan of crafting. I like loot drops. That's my favourite part of the game, so it's something to bear in mind. But you can craft and get better rolls, that's for sure. And 2 averagely rolled damage mods. But again, you can go skill haste on there, whatever you so wish. But again, I want that little bit of time where on the ropes is active more often than not. So yeah, that's why I've opted for the damage on this build. But again, personal preference and playstyle. This is my template, it's my blueprint, how it works well for me. What works well for you may be completely different. So again, something to bear in mind. Let's take a look at the stats. We know about the weapon and the gear talents. Crit chance, there's no crit on the build at all. So crit damage is irrelevant. Headshot damage 65%. A little bit of stability. Weapon handling 20%. Now my LMG bonus is 37%. Again, that will again go up. That will increase due to on the ropes, of course. So that's something to bear in mind also. Now, in terms of the talents, we've seen these already. My armor is 405k, max health 62, and my health regeneration 31. Now, the next one, we've got health regen, 31, explosive resistance 14.55. That's nice to have, given ND, Negotiator's Dilemma, is bloody everywhere. But more importantly, hazard protection 100%, which is very tasty for PvP. And we see the skill power says 2943 overall. Skill haste, there's next to nothing. That's just from the Alp Summon Armament chest piece. But again, this is not a skill haste kind of build. This is utilising the damage from on the ropes. And then you're going to get that buff from Bloodsucker. That's going to beef up your armour to make you tankier. Whilst when your skills are down, you are dealing some great damage. Also Perfect Terminate, which will buff your skills. That's how I've looked at once I put this build together. There's, again, many different iterations. It's entirely up to you. This is my personal preference anyway. But guys, this is the build. This is my, yeah, you've guessed it, crazy Bloodsucker PvP skill build that has fared me so well in PvP and will continue to do so, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you want to see more Division 2 content, please smash the sub button. And guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace.